It's that moment again, the one you dream of every night. La seule chose qui te préoccupe, c'est la gloire. Le cheminement de la réussite, of pushing yourself further than ever before. But the true glory is in the shadows. Les sacrifices que tu fais, quand toutes les chances sont contre toi. When you can't push one more second, chase the glory. Visez haut.
Well, welcome and bonjour to the Saville Community Sport Centre on the south side of Edmonton. It is quarterfinal Thursday in the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship, and it is quarterfinal number 4 as the host team Alberta Pandas welcome the Laval Rouge A-Or. It's been a long time coming for this Alberta Panda team, and this gym is absolutely fired up. My name is Mark Majot. Please be joined alongside Kara Lyons, former Saskatchewan Husky, current head coach of the Natives women's basketball team, and Doug McLean, my usual broadcast partner here on Canada West. And I'll start with you, Doug. This has been a long time coming for this Pandas team, and you can feel the excitement in the air tonight.
Yeah, they've obviously known about this for over a year, and they're ready to go. The fans ready to go. I think everyone just wants opening tip to get underway, because I'm sure there are a lot of nerves, a lot of excitement, not just with the players, with the fans too. So yeah, let's light it up.
The Alberta Pandas, Kira, finished 14-6. They were runners-up in Canada West, winning silver. They won bronze back in 2023. Do you feel this team has, well, I'm sure they are feeling pressure. Do you feel they're feeling any extra pressure, the fact that they're the host team?
Yeah, I think it's kind of an inevitable thing. It's a wonderful thing that they're not only the host, but they earned their way here, right? Like there's a little bit, I almost like an added pressure because they've earned it and they're the host, right? Like it's not like they just slid in that 8th spot because it's happening in their gym. Like they earned, they're here on merit, and I think that adds a little extra pressure to perform as well. But pressure is a privilege. We say a million cliches on this broadcast, and we're not going to stop now, but it's 100% correct. Like pressure is a privilege, and to be able to be in that position and have that pressure on you because you're playing in front of your home fans and your family and your friends, like what a wonderful opportunity. So yeah, there is a little bit added pressure, but that's fun. That's why Nationals is so much fun.
This is the matchup of the 4th seed Alberta versus the 5th seed Laval, and Doug, out west, we don't see a lot of Laval. What do we know about this team? We know they finished 16-0. We know they're the RSEQ champions, but still it may be a bit of an unknown for Canada West watchers.
A little bit. I mean, this is a team that, as you mentioned, 16-0, first time in Rouge A-Or history that they accomplished that, and of course 2-0 in the playoffs as well. This is a team that the Pandas know to an extent. They last faced each other in the quarterfinal, actually back in 2020, right before the pandemic. They play a similar style to the Pandas. They're a team that loves to push the pace. They're a team that is very good defensively. Maybe the one difference, Laval, a little more of an emphasis on the three-point shot. They've got the 2 best three-point shooters in the nation. Pandas happen to have the 3rd. But largely these are 2 teams that play similar styles. It's going to be a really interesting night.
Get a look at the crowd. It is absolutely humming here inside the Saville Community Sports Centre. Great atmosphere, Kira, as a former Canada West athlete yourself. How fun is it to draw off the energy of the home crowd when it's just absolutely rocking like this?
I mean, not that I forgot what it feels like, but I've definitely missed this energy because there's nothing like it, like playing in front of your home fans, just playing at Nationals in general, but then getting to do that in front of your home fans, like it is, home court advantage is a real thing. It is a massive contributor, and I'm so jealous of them right now. I want to be on the floor playing because, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I hope that they're just soaking it all in.
You see some of the smiles that are on the Pandas bench, but on the flip side, you can get intimidated. If you're a Laval player right now, listen, it's 10:15. with their local time, right? Is there a bit of maybe intimidation on this Laval side? I'm not saying they are timid, but you could see why they would be at times.
Yeah, I think it's really just how you approach it. It's also a wonderful opportunity to feed off that energy, and there is nothing better than silencing a rowdy crowd either, right? Like, that's one of the most fun things to be able to do too. So it's kind of how you approach it and what your perspective is, but definitely intimidating. Like, they're going to announce their starting lineup, and this building is going to erupt, right? And they know that if they let them start off hot, they're going to build off their own energy and off the energy of the crowd, and so that the start of this game has, you know, a lot of pressure in it as well. You need to come out and set the tone, whether you're the Pandas or you're Laval.
Doug, we've chatted a lot about, you know, both how both these teams got here, but I think the Pandas really got here on the strength of their defense, led by U Sports and Canada West Defensive Player of the Year, Claire Signatovich.
Yeah, back-to-back, as you mentioned, Mark, Defensive Player of the Year in the country, and a team that I think feeds off of the kind of defensive energy that she provides. This is a team that's solid defensively right through their lineup. They'll pressure the basketball. They've got 5 posts they can rotate through if they want to. It's a deep team defensively. They've given up the fewest points per game in the country. That's their calling card.
Take a quick pause for national anthems. We'll be back with starting lineups and keys to the game. Quarterfinal number 4 from U Sports Final 8 in Edmonton. They're going to look at some members of the Golden Bears basketball team supporting the Pandas tonight. Let's take a look at the starting 5 for the Laval Rouge or mentioned defending RSEQ champions. It'll be number 2, Florence Fortin, number 3, Frederic Baudry-Blais, number 4, Leah Sophie Verrette, number 6, Audrey Beland, and number 12, Sabrine Calefi. Doug, I'll start with you. What's the key to victory for Laval tonight?
I think one big key for them is effective transition defense. Get back. The Pandas love to push the pace. They want to get out on the run when they're able to. Laval did a great job doing that against Bishops last week in the RCQ final. Do it again here today. They'll be in a good spot.
Kira, what's the key to victory for the Rouge Or? This place is going to get very loud.
I know, I'm having a hard time hearing you already. Yeah, I think like they need to play their game. They need to get out and run. They're a very perimeter-based scoring. You know, they can't allow the Pandas' length and defensive prowess to push them off of what they're looking to do from the wings. And they need to be able to limit the Pandas' scoring. They've had a little bit of a tough go offensively, and the Pandas need, you know, Jenna Harp and Claire Signatovich, they need them to step up and score. And if Laval's able to limit that, I think they'll put themselves in a good position.
Let's take a look at the starting 5 for the Alberta Pandas, the host team of the nation, silver medalist in Canada West. It will be Shea McCusker, Jenna Harp, Canada West first team All-Star, Morgan Harris, Claire Signatovich, reigning defensive player of the year in both U Sports and Canada West, and Jaden Tanner. Doug, I'll start with you. What's the key to victory for the Pandas tonight?
Have to get support scoring. This is a team that struggles at times to score. They need to find players beyond the likes of Jenna Harp. Kia Isinahedi-Ohanma, a little bit hampered. Her minutes might be limited here today. They've got to find some depth scoring to give themselves a chance to win today.
And Kira, if the Pandas are going to be successful tonight, what do they have to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think Doug said it perfectly. They need to have some support in their scoring. They take care of business defensively, but they need to have a bit of a score-by-committee mindset. If they have opportunities inside, they need to take advantage of those as well. They're a good offensive rebounding team, so they need their bigs to be able to put those up and get to the line and be able to score.
We are almost underway here. We thank you for tuning in on CBC Sports Coast to Coast, wherever you're watching tonight. It is 8:19 at Edmonton. It is 10:19 in Laval. Let's do it. Fortin versus Signatovich. We are underway in quarterfinal number 4, and Jaden Tanner, quick start, was looking to just blow the roof off this joint with an early bucket. She misses, and 5 seconds in, the first foul is called.
Well, and there's a little bit of that excitement. Claire Signatovich tries to get down and crash the boards, and you'll see right here she goes right through the Laval player and picks up her first foul barely 5 seconds in.
Yeah, in the last game we talked about that first quarter jitters, how they weren't shooting the ball very well. I mean, if any game is going to have first quarter jitters, it's going to be this one in front of this massive crowd.
Verrett to Fortin. In the paint, blocked by Signatovich. It will remain Rouge. That's going to be Alberta ball. And what a block from the reigning defensive player of the year to get us going. Morgan Harris. Cross half for the Pandas. Finds Tanner. Hart. Steps out of bounds. Early on in this one, so maybe a bit of jitters or just maybe excitement is the word to use.
Jenna Harp struggled in the 4 playoff games, just shot 21%, 14 of 66. I don't expect that to happen again here today, but they have to have production out of their best offensive player.
Kalefi has that poke loose. She regains control, fires it back to Fortin. Verrett. Off the mark, Signatovich battles for it, and it's going to be Panda's ball. Leah Sophie Verrett is the RSEQ Player of the Year as well as a first-team All-Star. And these two teams aren't overly familiar with one another. Tanner. To her right. First points of the game belong to Jaden Tanner, and Alberta leads 2-0. Kalefi. Directing traffic. Beaudry Blais. Turns on the Jets, poke loose. Ends up in the hands of Signatovich. She hits the deck, looks for help, finds Shay McCusker. Harp with her head up, across half. Jump shot for Harp. Off the mark, Signatovich with the rebound, and she is fouled. Signatovich going to go to the line. Florence Fortin picking up her first foul, and Signatovich to the line.
Turnovers a big factor in the opening in Pandas, 3rd in the nation, forcing 26 turnovers a game. Laval, best in the RSEQ, just committing 16 a game, but that's 14th in the nation.
Signatovich goes 2 for 2. You know, it's early, but those are big buckets. Alberta from the free throw line has been a bit of a roller coaster at times this season, but that's a nice start. Kalefi.
One of the things that to be noted about the level of noise in this gym is defensively you have to communicate so well because you can't hear each other, right? It's so loud that it becomes a lot more difficult, you know, when screens are coming, if you can't tell by how loud it is. And so defensive communication becomes a lot more difficult and something you really need to focus on. It has to be early and consistent.
Teams exchanging 3-point shots early. Morgan Harris hitting that one for the Pandas. Verrett. Beaudry Blais play give and go. Beaudry Blais, nice dish
play
on the floor. Valand can't finish. Valand, excuse me, and here comes Signatovich with her head up. Jenna Hart for 3. Rattles around, doesn't go. Signatovich ends up with it, goes up, and she is fouled. Clara Signatovich is proving to be a problem early for Laval.
Well, she played some of her best basketball in the playoffs. A player that maybe struggled at times offensively during the regular season was outstanding in the playoff in the 4 games that got them into the Canada West final. And you can see on her face, I mean, she grabs that rebound, runs the floor. I mean, she's on a mission here so far early in this ball game.
Yeah, they definitely need her to be a scoring threat, and like you said, playing her best basketball in that Can West Final Four, had 22 and 15, and like I don't know, I don't want to say like 5 or 6 blocks, something like that. Like absolutely outstanding showing. Want her to ride that out, and like you said, seeing her face like that on that drive, there's a lot of confidence and tons of energy.
And Laval steps out of bounds. Alberta with a chance to stretch this lead.
2 players in the game right now for Alberta, Riley Semenuk and Reese Hall, and I think we talked about support scoring off the top. If those 2 players can get to around 13 combined, I think that's a good sign for Alberta. To me, they're 2 key players in terms of that support scoring. We'll see if they can get roughly to that number.
Harp to Signatovic.
They're face guarding Harp right now.
Harp loses it, and it's going to be Rouge-or possession.
I think the other officials coming over to have a little chat about that.
And it's going to be Alberta ball. Nice call by the official. So Harris will inbound with 8 seconds to go on the shot clock. Directing traffic, Harp, 7 to go. Harp loses it, but a foul is called. As Harp gets helped up by her teammates.
Mark, you mentioned this atmosphere. Should mention, I mean, Laval played in front of an outstanding crowd at Peps last weekend against Bishop. So home crowd, they were, I mean, it's different. This crowd is 90% against you, but still playing in that environment. I think Laval will have a little bit of comfort from some of that recent experience. And good crowds there all season.
Signatovic, 3-pointer, short. Signatovic with the offensive board. Spins, fires, Claire off the glass, no good. Hall there for the rebound, fires it back to Jenna Harp for 3. That one off the mark. Morgan Harris with the rebound. Hall loses it to Signatovic. Aggressive offensive rebounding by the Pandas early. And here comes Califfi. Lajoie fires it back to Verrett. Can't finish. Harp there for the rebound. Harris with her head up. Cuts right. Fires
Nice
it over.
play.
Riley Semenuk for 3. Off the mark. Tipped. Controlled by Lajoie. She finds Verrett. Spins in the paint. Tough shot. Can't go. Reese Hall uses every single inch of her 6'1" frame to come down with that. Signatovic calling for it. Up and under. Signatovic with a bucket.
Made that one hard on herself. Crowd loves it though.
Verrett finds Lajoie. Good ball movement here by the Rouge-or. Verrett, 6 to go on the shot clock.
Oh.
Got to launch something. A long 3 for Verrett off the front of the rim. Harris in perfect position for the rebound. Nice move there. She gets bumped by Caleffi. And the fouls are starting to mount early for Laval. That's number 2. And that's going to be our media timeout. 4:51 remaining in the first. 10-3 Pandas lead. You're watching the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship on CBC Sports.
Sports fans, check out shop.usports.ca for this week's promotional item from the Nike Team Collection. Visitez le shop.usport.ca pour en profiter de la promotion de la semaine de la collection Nike Team.
They don't do it for the likes or for the shares. They do it for the fun of it, for the thrill, for the camaraderie, for the memories. CBC Sports, just because they love it.
Welcome back to a raucous Saville Community Sport Centre quarterfinal number 4 between the Alberta Pandas and the Laval Rouge et Or. As Alberta's out in front 10-3, and Doug, I say this a lot, it feels like the Pandas were shot out of a cannon tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that early foul from Signatovic, but they seem to have managed that energy well here over the last few minutes. But Laval, again, a patient team. This is a team that I think is, they know they're not an underdog, but they know at home they're clearly facing it. And sometimes that's a good thing. It just sort of settles you down a little bit. And again, with what Laval can do on the perimeter, this is a team that's going to find a way to chip back into this.
Harp's three-pointers off the mark. And Kira, do you think Laval did a good job at weathering the storm through the first 5 minutes?
Yeah, definitely. I think both teams, though, the energy is not only like the speed of the game, but they're missing some reads as well because their heads are down. They're not quite seeing things. Like Pandas have had a couple switches on ball screens, and if they roll and get to the rim, they have a size advantage. They're not taking advantage of that. Laval throwing the ball away, not seeing Diarra in the key, who was like, I don't think there was anybody around her for at least 6 feet, So missing some wide open looks. But that comes with that energy as well, right? Like your vision gets a little bit narrow sometimes. You get a little bit excited.
Shots like that help.
That's what they can do. Threes off a transition. They love that little penetrate on transition, kick out for the open look.
Oh. Three-pointer. Ella Rees is good. Canada West all-rookie team. Nerves, what nerves? She drills a three, makes it 13-6 for the Pandas.
What a great response from one of the best three-point shooters in Can West.
Verrett looking for a response. Beaudry Blais. Reese looking for help. She's boxed in the corner. Finds Hall. Learns it. And it's going to remain Rouge et Or ball. And we'll have some substitutions here as Harp, Hall, and Semenuk will come out for Alberta. Signatovic, Tanner, and Harris check back in. Coach Edwards for the Pandas in his 18th season loves to get his bench involved early. Lajoie for three. Rattles around, doesn't fall. Rees there for the rebound.
A little bit jumpy there on defense. Hands are down. Got to be active. Got to have them up. Can't be bouncing like that. But first year, right? First time.
Absolutely.
A lot of energy.
Harris drives, spins, fires. Morgan off the glass and in.
Laval not liking that one. Calling for the push off.
Might have had a case, I'd say.
Lajoie to Verrett. Beaudry Blais on the baseline. Bumps into Signatovic, who gets it right back. Up, and a foul called. That's going to be number 2 against Signatovic.
And I don't know if this was on her mind when she took that attack, but Claire already had a foul, and anytime you get an opportunity like that with a little bit of chaos, you got to go at her, because if you get her on the bench, that opens up your scoring so much, right? Defensive Player of the Year 2 times in a row. You sit her down, all of a sudden the inside becomes a lot more open. Everything becomes a little bit easier if you're able to sit her down.
Frédéric Beaudry Blais at the line.
Their best free throw shooter on the season, 84%. The native of Quebec City, played at Cégep Sainte-Foy, as did many players on this Rouge et Or roster.
Three-pointer by Laval is good. That's a big shot by Elodie Lajoie. Makes it a 5-point lead for Alberta.
We should note 3 best three-point shooters in the country moments ago were on the floor in Holt, Lajoie, and Ella Rees for the Pandas.
At least 2 good. Harris, 7 to go. Harris cuts through traffic off the glass, too strong. Jaden Tanner crashes, can't control it.
Even on that one, I see Reese popping out to the three. Like, she's not a strong three-point shooter. She's got a mismatch inside. You got to roll and then get that ball from Harris for an easy dump in. Like, why are you popping?
Verrett for 3 is good. That fires up the Laval bench. A really nice response by Laval. Under 2 minutes remaining, it's a 2-point Panda lead. Harris. Hall to Tanner. Tanner defended so well. Harris loses it in the hands of Verrett. She just chucks it forward, and a foul is called against Morgan Harris. So that's going to be the first foul for Harris.
That's just unlucky, right? It is a foul. Like you trip drop, it's just unlucky.
1:36 remaining in the first. Beaudry Blade inbound for Laval. Verrett has a game high 6 points. She gets it right back. Thought about a three, takes a step in, walks down the lane, too strong. Hall in perfect position for the rebound. Harris with pressure from behind finds Jenna Harp. Jump shot, that is good.
Nice.
And that's gonna be huge for Alberta if Jenna Harp can get hot, especially from that part on the floor.
When they were face guarding her early, but you hit her in transition like that, you don't even have an opportunity.
Long three-pointer by Beaudry Blais off the mark. McCusker fights for it. And that is Audrey Belland. Makes it back to a 2-point game. Harp. Tanner. Spins in paint, too strong. Rebound gobbled up by Verrett. Lobs it forward. And another foul called against Alberta. This one's gonna go on Shea McCusker, so her first.
Yeah, I don't want to be taking those. Especially with Claire already in foul trouble.
Yeah, we've seen
no need for that.
No, we've seen two get in the game a little bit here already for Alberta. Reese Hall playing some bigger minutes now with Signatovic on the bench.
Verrett. Beaudry Blais. Bourgeois. Spins. Looks for help. Back to Verrett. 7 to go. Number 4 watching number 4. Switch. McCusker on Verrett. Now she's got to get something up. Nope, shot's not going to count as a shot clock violation. And again, that noise, Kira, you mentioned earlier, it's going to be hard to communicate. You can't even hear yourself think in this gym right now. Alberta's going to have to move quickly. 9.9 left in the first. They lead by 2.
Yeah, like Alberta's not going to have any problems hearing the 10 seconds under, but Laval is going to struggle because there's going to be so much noise and you're battling a whole crowd with just your bench.
Harris, as shot clock as quarter expires, she misses. And at the end of the first quarter, Alberta's out in front 17-50 in a very entertaining first quarter of quarterfinal number 4, and the Pandas find themselves up in front by 2.
And I think if you're Alberta, I think you're looking at that overall quarter and say, we played pretty well. It was a stretch of about 2 minutes where they lost the three-point line, and suddenly, again, Laval's such a good three-point shooting team, knocked some down. I mean, again, we should mention they're the second best three-point shooting team in the nation. Knocked some down. Laval 4 of 9 from long range. But for Alberta, you're feeling pretty good. And I think for Laval, you weathered that initial storm. You knew there was going to be a pushback. They did. They knocked down some shots. And now you've got Alberta thinking about how you have to extend out to the three-point line to defend those shooters.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised. Like Alberta's got 5-0 boards and Laval only had 2. I was thinking that they had a few more, but I think they're coming up with some 50-50 balls in the Pandas end a little bit. Like they trapped Reese in the corner down there, ended up getting the ball back. They had a couple that came off, not necessarily an O board, but came off of some fingers, ended up with it. So the Pandas need to be a little bit careful, making sure they're not getting outworked in their defensive end on those loose 50-50s.
2-point Alberta lead. I think Laval did a good job at kind of just surviving that onslaught. It could be really easy to get intimidated by this, but they didn't back their way into this tournament, right? We've talked a lot about how they're the RSEQ champs. They haven't lost a game all season.
I think it's important to note too, like their roster doesn't look like they're that old, but when you play SAGEP, you do come into the league at an older age. So something where teams that have girls that come straight out of high school, that's not necessarily the case for them. So they're going to have a little bit more composure. They're a little bit more mature because even though their roster says 30 years, they are veterans. They're older and they understand how to kind of weather these storms because they've had more experience.
Absolutely. We're almost set to get underway in the second quarter. Laval will begin with possession. It will be Elodie Lajoie as Kia Easton-Ahedio-Hanma checks in for the first time for the Pandas.
a big energy player for the Pandas too. It's nice to see her back out there, struggling a little bit with injury, so she provides so much offensively and defensively, and just a motor player.
Absolutely averaging double-digit points this year.
Hey.
Almost got a steal. It's Lajoie. Cuts left, goes up. Reese Hall with the block. And it's going to be Pandas possession, 19 seconds into the second. Reese Hall in just her second year with the program, looking like a vet out there. Jenna Harp, first team Canada West All-Star. Too good. Tanner. Easton Ihedio, Hanma for three is good. Talk about an energy player. Nothing more energetic than that three.
A defensive touch and a three.
And just a 23% three-point shooter on the season.
No fear.
As Imbert almost had that poked away. Lajoie looking for help, finds Verrett. 5 to go in the shot clock. Verrett walks right into Reese Hall. And another shot clock violation. That's not going to count. So a couple times we've seen it now. Great job defensively there by the Pandas. Jenna Harp across half, playing some of her final games with Alberta after a fantastic Canada West career. Pretty cool way to wrap up your collegiate career, playing at home in nationals. Hall to Tanner, 4 to go. Chucks it up. And now we saw it go the other way. Alberta called for the violation. It's going to be Laval ball.
The Laval team that doesn't give up a lot either. 53 points a game, third best in the country, tops in Quebec. Saw a good example of it there. Pandas trying to create their own shot. Everyone kind of standing around a little bit. And this is where the Pandas can have some challenges in terms of that ability to create.
Verrett. Directing traffic for Laval. Hands it off. Brynlee Holt. And a foul called. At least too good, the guilty party.
I really love that hard hedge that they're doing up at the top, because they're really not looking inside off of that. Like we talked about before, they're a perimeter-oriented team, and I really love how aggressive the Pandas are being, but they've gotten away, I think, with a couple before, and so at least getting that one, they just need to be a little bit more careful.
Brynlee Holt for 3 off the mark. Holt was all-rookie team in the RSEQ, playing a big role for her team. Harris. Jenna Harp for 3. Too strong, too good there with the rebound. Spins, fires. Didn't put enough on that, but gets the offensive rebound, looking for help. Does a good job to remain in bounds. Jenna Harp now. Reese Hall, 3 to go, loses it, but she is fouled. So fouls starting to creep up in this one. First foul for Frédéric Beaudry-Blais.
Yeah, good job there by Tugad. Kira, you talked earlier about the toughness, and there's a good example. Tugad ripping down 2 offensive boards, having to deal with a couple white jerseys hanging all over her, but does a good job to protect that ball and give her team another opportunity.
And I mean, not that she doesn't look athletic, but she is sneaky athletic. Yeah. Like, she can jump, she can move, she's quite strong.
And good hands inside as well.
Jenna Harp with 4 points. A couple long jump shots. 3-pointer here by Lajoie.
Pandas getting away a little bit. Those are 2 of their big 3-point shooters, the two top in the country, Holt and Lajoie. Pandas not getting out on those closes.
Lajoie fouls Tanner. That will send the Pandas to the line. Timeout called by Laval with 7:11 remaining in the second quarter. It's a 7-point Alberta lead. Pretty good start if you're an Alberta supporter.
I think you feel pretty good about where this is at. I think, you know, if you're Laval, you've pushed back once, you're going to need to do it again. But again, you've got the offensive ability to do it. And one thing I really liked about Laval's game here early is transition defense and their ability to get back Pandas have done a good job on the boards, but they have not really been able to push and get out on the break to the extent that they tend to like, and that's a credit to what Laval's done in transition defensively.
The Laval's energy is a little bit scary, right? And because they're such a good three-point shooting team that if you allow, like you said, some open looks like that and girls start catching fire, that's a scary spot to be in. They play with a lot of pace. They're really wanting to push the ball. And so you need to kind of stifle that a little bit and take that away. And right now, I think the Pandas need to hone in a little bit more on that because they are going to start to hit.
And they're a team that isn't afraid. I mean, you look at the game against Bishops last week, halfway through the first quarter, the score was 3-1 Laval. Halfway through the second quarter, it was 12-10 Laval. So they're not a team that will force offense necessarily, but they're much like the Huskies. They're patient, and they'll find when their offense comes, when a team lets down its guard a bit, they'll start to burn you, and that's exactly what they did against the Gators last week.
That's that energy I can kind of feel.
Yep.
You can tell that they, you let them in, and they'll find a way.
Jaden Tanner hits her first free throw, and just 1 point on Laval. Leah Sophie Verrette was the RSEQ Player of the Year, first team All-Star. She's a problem out there. I mean that as a compliment.
She's leading that energy totally. Yeah. She's scary. Like she's small. She's so small and yet terrifying out there because you can just feel the confidence coming off of her and that she is the motor of this team.
Yeah.
And I think if you give her an inch, she'll take a mile.
She hit a shot and her reaction at the bench pretty much summed it up that she's kind of the motor for this team. It's Alberta looking to stretch their 9-point lead. Jenna Harp pivots, drives in paint, loses it. Good job there by Lajoie to not foul. And it will be Laval ball. The crowd disagrees. But another meeting with the officials here. No, it's going to remain in possession of the Rouge et Or.
I do like that they met though.
For sure.
Just like, hey, are you sure that's what you saw? It's like, yep, all right, moving on.
We've seen that a couple times as well tonight. And a tie-up. And it will be Laval ball. And, we see a lot of the same officials here in Canada West, but I'm not familiar with this crew out here as well. So, it's a big stage for everyone involved. The officials, Doug and I talk about it all the time. It is one of the hardest jobs to be an official out there. It happens so fast. So the fact that they're meeting is very, very
Everybody's
impressive.
so mean.
Of course.
Of course. I would never do it. I applaud them so much because they just take it in stride.
Tanner in transition. Can't finish, puts a little too much on it. Off the leg of Tugert, so it's going to be Laval ball. As Brinley Holt is going to check back in.
I saw a little piece of how Elise gets up there. She got it, which was a little early on it, but she gets up. She's athletic and she was down the floor with good speed.
Playing big minutes tonight. Obviously Signatovich with 2 fouls tonight already. Big spot here for Elise Tugend. Khalifi up with the left hand, misses, gets her own rebound, blocked by Hall. She gets it back, fires it to Holt. Holt with speed, too strong, and a late foul called. Gonna go charged to Reese Hall.
Yeah, I thought that they may have missed that one a little bit right here. Yeah. It was late, but it was right.
Yep, good call by the official, and that will send Brinley Holt to the line.
Brinley Holt, second-year player out of Halifax. Did spend 2022 with the Dalhousie Tigers. As you mentioned, led U Sports in three-point shooting, 46% on the season.
A tough matchup. She's long, but very quick. Anytime the ball's in her hand, she's really pushing the pace too. She's a bit of a mismatch.
Harp. Riley Semenuk down low. Hall put a little too much on that. Verrette now. Khalifi. To Verrette. The team high 6 points. Looking to make it 9. Can she do it? She does.
Can't leave her alone out there.
Well, they have McCusker who steps out and hedges, but she can't back off until Harris recovers. And McCusker dropped back to the lane far too early, and Verrette's like, sure, I'm happy to take that open look.
Well, and that's the one of the disadvantages with that hard hedge, right? Is if she pulls you out, you got to continue to go until somebody checks you out. But that's a scary spot to be in if you're McCusker as well, right? You're out there with this 5'3" girl that can shoot and has tons of speed.
Yep.
Nice dish there by Harp, and an impressive finish by Hall. She gets her first points of the night. It's 26-19 Alberta. Jumper for Holt does everything but fall. Hall there for the rebound. Harris. McCusker wide open. Puts it on the floor, up in the glass. And the fifth-year Panda makes no mistake.
Nice pass, good hands.
Opens up a 9-point lead for Alberta. Khalifi hands it off to Holt. Verrett. Back to Khalifi. Holt in the corner. Milan. Blocked by McCusker. Khalifi. Shot clock violation again. I don't think anyone realized that it ticked down so much. And it will be Panda's ball. As the crowd get into it here, a lot of A-block sweaters in the stands tonight. They're loving it. Timeout called with 4:09 left in the second. Laval doing a great job of weathering this storm and sticking around. They get a look at their bench. Head coach Guillaume Giroux in his 9th season. Coach of the year in the RSEQ. Led his team to the championship, but his team is down by 9 midway through the second quarter.
Well, it's really, I mean, we've mentioned the 16-0 record, and I mean, looking back in Quebec history, it doesn't happen a lot. Last time was McGill, where they were 12-0 back in 1996. Bishops was unbeaten in 1984. Laval got close twice, 15-1 in 2019 and 2005, but this year with that 16-0 record and a pretty dominating 16-0. I mean, you look at the 4 games they played against Bishops in the regular season, relatively close. You get into that final, they only allowed 33 points for the game. I mean, they absolutely dominated that game as it went on. They just took it over, and you've talked about it, Kira, a team that just is, they'll just hang around, and because they know how explosive they can be, they're content. I'm not saying they're happy being down 9, but they're content being in a situation. That's right, because of just how well they can shoot the basketball.
Well, and like we talk about that undefeated season, I'm also interested to see how they respond to being down and being in a close game, because that's one of the downfalls of being in an undefeated season is you haven't been and not always, but like in theirs, they're winning by an average of 18 points per game, right? So you're not having these close games. You're more so kind of taking control and not letting go of them. And so responding in a game when you're down to one of the best teams in the country and someone you haven't faced yet, it'll show a lot about their character and kind of how their season has gone as well.
Back underway in the second quarter. Claire Signatovich has checked back in for the Pandas. Ella Rees. Riley Semenuk, good ball movement. Signatovich to Harris. Sets a pick. Signatovich, baseline, 3, 2. It's got to force something up.
And that one too, roll to the rim right away. You've got a 5'3" girl on you. You got to roll. Like, why are you getting to the Russian spot? Right to the rim when she's on your back, and just put it over the top, and she can't. There's nothing she can do about it. But they're not taking advantage of that. Like, they're switching on those ball screens, and we're just not seeing it.
Yeah. And especially with the size advantage that the Pandas have, you're exactly right. They have to take advantage when they get those balls in situations where they can look to attack.
Yeah, it's happening often.
Holt. For 3. That is good. Big shot there by Brinley Holt.
And Semenuk did a good job closing out. That just shows how good a shooter Holt is. I mean, just
got a hand up, contested it. I actually thought she got a piece of it at first.
No fear at all.
Signatovich hands it off to Riley Semenuk to Shea McCusker. Morgan Harris, 5 to go. Alberta's got to do something quick. Rees with 3 to go. She drives. Harris chucks it up, and no, they're going to say another shot clock violation. The Pandas are saying it hit the rim, but the officials disagree.
It was close, but I don't think it actually caught it. It sort of went up and just didn't quite.
A little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit of spin, but
tough to see from here, but
good defensive possession for Laval, just keeping everything to the outside.
Verrett. Beaudry in the corner to Verrett for 3. That was partially blocked by Signatovich. Out of bounds, it's going to remain Laval ball. But something we've seen a lot of times in this gym so far this year, Doug, Claire Signatovich hosting a block party.
Yeah, and again, 1 with 3. You look at this replay here, like she comes through. I mean, she's careful. She takes a good angle on that closeout just because she knows she's long. She can get away because you're always fearful there that you're going to run through the shooter. And, of course, with 2 fouls already, you can't afford a third.
And the thing I loved about that, too, was that their defensive rotations actually got quite mixed up. And so it was just she went out there knowing that she was the only one, even though that wasn't necessarily her look, right? But she just went out, and because she's so long, she was able to make up for it. But you know, a little bit of urgency and hard work, and you can make up for a lot of mistakes, especially defensively.
Alberta leads by 6, 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Quarterfinal number 4. Tanner, jump shot, off the mark. Rebound collected by Laval, and here comes Holt with speed. Burns past Tanner, and a nice finish there.
She's trouble.
Brinley Holt and Leah Sophie Verrett doing a lot of damage for the Rouge et Or tonight. Nice dish there to Hall, too strong. And a 4-point game. Holt. Verrett moves left, spins. No look dish to Holt for 3. That one is short. Verrett gets it back. Being guarded by Tanner. Verrett to her left. In paint, and a foul called as Verrett tumbles. And we'll see who the guilty party is. And it's going to be Reese Hall. So Hall picks up her second. As at least 2 good. We'll check in for Claire Signatovich as Leah Sophie Verrett at the line for 2.
75% shooter during the season.
Gets her first. And gets her second. Those are 2 big shots as a timeout called by Alberta with 1:33 left in the second quarter. Nice little run here by Laval to cut it to a 2-point lead.
Yeah, 7-0 run here in the last minute or so, and that's, again, that they have that offensive spark, and when you're going against the best defensive team in the country and you can put those big runs on, that makes you feel pretty good, and Laval just keeps grinding back in. When they sort of let the game slip away, they grind back into it, the Pandas, and that's where they struggle, Alberta, all year, just that next bucket. You're up 9, can you get to 11? Can you get to 13 against good teams? They often haven't found that next level of scoring, and that's been a challenge here again tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about this before, but like that Laval energy is a scary one. You know, they are attack with pace, and like you said, that 9-point deficit really not a scary one because they're like, we can score 9 points in our sleep, right? And you can see it in their demeanor and in the energy that's coming off of them. So it's something that Pandas need to take care of going into the half. They need to extend this lead a little bit. They can't allow them to crawl back because if Laval takes the lead going into the second half, that does change things. It changes the energy coming out. But if they're able to ride this out a little bit, get a couple stops, get a couple scores, be up, 6-8 going into the half, that changes things quite a bit.
Pretty big remaining 93 seconds for both teams here.
Yeah, large, very large.
It's Jenna Harp, the floor general for the Pandas. Averaged over 15 points in the regular season, being guarded by Verrett. Tanner, Isanai Hediohanma to Hall. 3 to go. Harp for 3. Short. And here comes Laval with speed. Beaudry Blais. Holt. A minute left in the second. Holt drives, and we're tied at 28. 9-0 run for Laval. Harp.
Get a good look here.
Isanai Hediohanma's 3 off the mark, but Hall there for the rebound. Harp a 3 of her own. That one's too strong. Beaudry Blais there for the rebound. And now Laval with a chance to take the lead for the first time tonight.
They're just relentless in their attacks.
3-pointer is good. Florence for 10. Puts Laval up by 3. Harp. About a half second between shot clock and game clock. Harp. What's she gonna do? Weaves through traffic, heaves it up. That's a big shot for Jenna Harp, and that's gonna do it for the first half. As Laval, an excellent final stretch in that second quarter, find themselves up 31-30 at half. And that was a very exciting first half of basketball, quarterfinal number 4.
I think a lot of what you'd probably expect, I mean, maybe how we got here wouldn't be how I'd expect, but if you would have said to me, hey, the halftime score is going to be 31-30 Laval, I would have been, yep, that sounds probably about right. Roughly around where both these teams are going to score. They're good defensive teams, but how we got here, I mean, again, the Pandas looked, not that they were going to run away with it, but that they might start to build a lead that was going to force Laval to open things up a bit. But again, Laval is so patient, and they just know they're going to find offense, and just those few little momentary lapses defensively for Alberta, Laval just so good, and they'll just take advantage, and they did with that 12-0 run before Harp answered late.
Well, and a big part of that, like looking at these stats here, is Laval has 8 0 rebounds now. They only had 2 after the first quarter, so they really got after it in that second quarter, and Pandas went from 5 to 9, so it's still like a decent amount, but they definitely closed that gap in that second quarter, and that's a huge part of that. Just outworked them a little bit. But yeah, that scary Laval energy showing its head here for sure.
Absolutely. Laval heads to the dressing room up by 1 at half. As they get a look at some of the fans in attendance tonight. I'm Mark Majot, joined by Kira Lyons, as well as Doug McLean. Quarterfinal number 4. The winner of this game will take on Saskatchewan on Saturday evening, as Carleton and Queens advanced earlier today. Saskatchewan knocked off Calgary in the game before this.
Just mention this is the 1999 National Championship Alberta Pandas. So members of that roster being recognized here tonight at Saville.
That's really cool. And also, if you look at their shirts.
I was wondering what that was. Thank you for clarifying.
Well, so the alumni team, so like I'm an honorary Granda because I moved back to Edmonton. So the Grandas are the Pandas alumni, which is the best alumni team name I've ever heard in my life. And the logo is like an old panda, so they've taken it and adjusted it a little bit. And it looks like they got the bronze baby in there too. It's wonderful.
Firing up the crowd. We're all getting announced. And Doug, this was before my time, but do you remember much about this 1999 team?
I do, yeah. Jackie Simon, Rania Burns, 2 big players in the post that enabled them to, I think, really controlled where that team went. But you look at people like, there's Sarah Armstrong, Paul Kanegrad, I should mention for Mark and I.
Thank you.
But a team that was really, really deep. Again, Burns, Simon, Keys, but also some shooters on the outside that could contribute too. And Trix Baker, head coach, of course, former Panda herself. So just a very good team that almost got back to winning another one in 01 where they hosted here. Got in as the host, ended up losing to Regina in the national final over at the main gym.
I'm always so impressed at how much alumni and how much it means to be a Canada West kind of member. Alberta is so great with their alumni. We've talked about all the A blocks in the crowd. And Kira, I've never been to a game in Saskatchewan, but I imagine the alumni is welcome every time they return as well, right? It's common across Canada West.
Always. Like the Husky alumni is absolutely incredible, and I think that is a common thing around Canada West. But the Pandas alumni is, like, they're known for it. They're absolutely known for it. And it just goes to show, like, you look at all of these different age groups of women and all these blockades in the crowd and just how rowdy they've been and how excited they've been leading up. Like, I think it's amazing everywhere, but I don't know that it gets better than it does at U of A. Like, the Pandas truly have something special in that.
They announced Trix Baker right there. Her son was also a decent player as well.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, he was okay.
Decent day. Kudos to the University of Alberta for honoring this team. They've been a big part, I know. As soon as it was announced Alberta was getting this tournament, lots to talk about. 2001, of course, hosting, and then the reigning national champions back in 1999. So nice to see them get acknowledged. Nice to see the current Pandas stick around on the bench. get a bit of motivation as they run into the tunnel. Down by 1, they have work to do, but a very exciting first half of basketball. We are going to take a pause. Laval leads 31-30, quarterfinal number 4. We thank you for tuning in on CBC Sports. We'll be back in about 13 minutes to get you set for the second half action.
It's that moment again, the one you dream of every night. La seule chose qui te préoccupe, c'est la gloire. Le cheminement de la réussite, of pushing yourself further than ever before. But the true glory is in the shadows. Les sacrifices que tu fais, quand toutes les chances sont contre toi. When you can't push one more second, chase the glory. Visez haut.
Welcome back inside the Saville Community Sport Centre, where it is the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship. It is quarterfinal number 4, our fourth and final game of the day. I'm Mark Majot. Please be joined alongside Kira Lyons as well as Doug McLean. And through 2 quarters, Laval finds themselves out in front, 31-30. Let's revisit some keys to the game from the start. Kira, I'll start with you for Laval. Basically kind of echoed what Doug was saying. Transition D and play their game, and I felt they did a really good job at weathering the storm in the first quarter.
Definitely. We talked about this, that first quarter for anybody at Nationals is a kind of scary one, but when you're coming up against the crazy fans of the Panda alumni and just the energy in this gym, it can be a very daunting challenge, and they seem to have really taken that on and seemed like they fed off of it a little bit because, like I said, as much energy as the crowd can give, silencing one is almost more fun. And it seems like they've taken on that challenge and taken it to heart.
And Doug, for Alberta, down by 1, you mentioned support scoring in depth. They've got it at times that really not as much as you were hoping for.
Not as much as you'd hope for. Relatively balanced scoring so far. That's a positive for Alberta, but maybe not that support scoring that you're looking for. I singled out Semenuk and Hall as 2 players that were keys. Haven't been able to contribute a ton at the offensive end yet. We'll see if they can in the second half.
The winner gets a date with Saskatchewan on Saturday night, as Alberta had a chance to take the lead early on in the third. Jenna Hart missed, and here comes Laval. Sabrine Khalifi. Verrett. Good ball moving here. Beaudry Blais making a nice shot, look easy. And Laval's open up their largest lead of the evening. They lead by 3. Signatovic hands it off to Harp. Jenna Harp, that one rattles around. She's struggled shooting the ball tonight. Beaudry Blais. Khalifi. Hands it off to Beaudry Blais. Has that poke loose. And a foul is called. Looks like Jaden Tanner was the guilty party.
I think it's just because she went with both hands. Like reached with both, I think, and that's why I got her.
Got to look at some crowd reactions early, as the crowd is into it. Great turnout all afternoon. As Laval has 6 seconds to go. Khalifi draws another foul. Crowd here thought there should have been a travel. Officials disagree, as Jaden Tanner picks up 2 fouls in the first 1:17 of the third quarter.
Yeah, bailed her out. She has the jumper here. She's taking off her. She has tons of space right there. Really didn't have a whole lot, like, to scoop it from that far away. That's a really tough shot to end on. Like, just let her take that. Don't bail her out, put her on the line.
And Khalifi has been relatively quiet, averaged 12.5 points a game. And those are her first 2 of the night.
They didn't really need her in that first half, but really a big star for her. She was a first-team All-Star, Conference All-Star. Shea McCusker up and under.
Nice.
First points of the half for Alberta. Beaudry Blais 4-10. Audrey Blaine, nice look, nice lay-in. Bit of a defensive collapse there by Alberta.
Jenna Harp trying to stay in that passing, got caught a little bit high, and by the time she recovered,
and it was too late.
Help side was way too late.
Tanner put a little too much on that pass to Signatovic, and here come the Rouge et Or in transition. Verrett stops, curls.
It makes it really tough to be in proper help side when you play against a team that shoots the ball so well from the three, because you don't want to create too much distance, right? Like, you want to be able to recover.
Signatovic swats that out of bounds. That was Andre Belland. And Laval's going to have 4 seconds off the inbound.
Panda's all-time blocks leader, a record she set last year in her 3rd season at Alberta.
That's amazing.
And not a great communication there. We've seen that now a few times, going both ways.
The crowd, I tell you, has a lot to do with that too. You can't hear anything. Like, their bench was trying to communicate that, but you can't hear it. So you just have to be that much more aware. Your head has to be up. You need to be aware of what that clock is, because you can't rely on your bench, especially being that far away now. Second half, you're further from them.
Morgan Harris. The ball finds Claire Signatovic. Harp thought about a 3. Fakes left, goes right. Miscommunication, but it's going to remain Panda's ball. 8 seconds to go in the shot clock. Riley Semenuk to inbound. Signatovic. 3 to go. Signatovic. No foul called, and here comes Laval in transition. Khalifi. To Holt. Back to Khalifi on the baseline. Goes up.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Nice job there. Realized she was going one-on-one against Harp, and it's now a 7-point advantage for Laval, their largest of the evening.
That was a strong finish.
Harris. Nice touch there by Morgan. She's got 7 points. And Holt's a bit of a run here by Laval.
She's the one player that the Pandas have, along with Harp, that can get to the rim, that can penetrate. She's not a big player, but she can get there.
She can create. She's got lots of moves. Very skilled.
Lajoie for 3. Off the mark, rebound snatched there by Signatovic. Trying to go coast to coast. A little too much on that one. As Harp collides for it, slides for it. Harp, Harris, lobs it to Hall. I don't think she realized how much time and space she had. She's still fighting for it, but here comes Laval, Alberta pressing a little bit here. Down by 5. Khalifi up and under. Imbert ends up with it. Holt, 5 to go.
Oh, wow.
Milan, 1. And another shot clock violation.
Khalifi's got to put that up.
Yeah,
I don't know why she passed that. I know, I'm assuming she's a better 3-point shooter in the corner, but like, you got to put that up. Under 3, can't be passing it. Got to shoot it.
So timeout called. 5:39 remaining in the 3rd quarter. You're watching the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship on CBC Sports.
They don't do it for the likes or for the shares. They do it for the fun of it, for the thrill, for the camaraderie, for the memories. CBC Sports, just because they love it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Edmonton. Quarterfinal number 4. Laval, the 5 seed, finds themselves up by 5 against the 4 seed Alberta. Nice run over maybe the last 7 minutes of game time. Laval has somewhat taken over this game. It's Alberta looking to stop that. Signatovic. 6 seconds to go on the shot clock. Finds Jenna Hart for 3. Looked like that was partially blocked. They got to lock something up soon. That's not going to count. I'm going to stop saying shot clock violation because I've said it so many times tonight, but I don't think I've seen this many called in a game, and it just has to go with this atmosphere in here.
Yeah, it's kind of yucky, honestly, because a few of them I would blame on the crowd, but a couple of them, it's just, you got to be aware of how long it takes. If you're going to put the ball on the floor, you got 2 seconds, or making that extra pass when you got 3 seconds, like a little bit of awareness of how long things take as well.
Nice partial block there by Riley Semenuk. It's going to be Laval ball. Feet inbound. Imbert. As Riley Semenuk picks up her first foul of the game. And importantly, that's going to give Laval more time on the shot clock. Gets bumped up to 14. Oh, nice inbound play. Holt puts a little too much on it. Kind of surprised the Pandas. Harris gets bumped from behind by Holt. And that's the first foul of the quarter called against Laval.
Well, Laval takes the second fewest fouls per game in the country, just over 13. So it's a team that doesn't get themselves in a lot of foul trouble.
Harris. A low-scoring affair in the third quarter. 8-3, Laval has the advantage here in the third. Riley Semenuk has Harris calling for it.
Too late.
Harp, corner 3, off the side of the backboard. Holt moves it quickly to 410. Holt gets it right back for 3. Brindley Holt makes no mistake and has opened up an 8-point advantage for Laval. Harp. Signatovic. Harp gonna try another 3. That one is short. Jenna Harp struggling from beyond the arc. 0 for 9. And that's a huge response there by Laval. Florence Fortin opens up now an 11-point advantage for the Rouge et Or with 3:51 remaining in the third. That's a 6-point swing. Harp missing that and then Fortin drilling that. Timeout called by Alberta.
Oh, has a dagger, that one. That was deep. Couple really confident looks from 3 in the last 2 minutes. My goodness.
Well, on Fortin, we haven't even really mentioned her from the three-point line, 36% in the season. She's perfect tonight, 3 of 3. But for Alberta, right now, I mean, there's just no rhythm shooting the basketball whatsoever.
Feels very much like the Dinos in the earlier quarterfinal. Just doesn't feel like they have good rhythm. They're not attacking as a unit, feel disjointed and a little bit like it's 1-on-5 every time and not really playing together, getting the best look that they can. And it also seems like they're catching the ball and they're waiting a second too long before they pass it, or they're catching it and hesitating and not taking the shot when they should. And now everything's a little bit just out of whack with each other, and it makes it really difficult. Like we talked about in the earlier game, you're on an island a little bit, and that can be really exhausting and frustrating, especially when you're playing that offense and they come down and hit 2 big threes like that, like just daggers.
Well, the thing for Laval too, and as this game has worn on, it's not just been the three-point shooting. They've been able to get to the rim and from dribble penetration outside the arc, and now that's become a double-edged sword for Alberta in terms of how they handle it.
Easton Ihedio, Handa for 3. She's 2 for 2, not known for a three-point shooting, but that's a big bucket for Alberta. Trying to stay alive in this one. Verrett to Imbert. Three-pointer by Laval, too strong. Signatovic for the rebound, fighting with Fortin. Verrett gets it back. 7 to go. Verrett for 3. Too strong, but Laval just fighting more for those rebounds. Verrett gets it back, being guarded by the U Sports Defensive Player of the Year. Beaudry Blais for 3. That one off the mark as well. Laval dominating the rebounds here in this sequence. Verrett takes the scenic route, fires out to Fortin for 3. That one doesn't miss. Laval gets it again, and a foul is called. And it's going to be against Laval. And that's the break Alberta was hoping for. They couldn't buy a rebound on that sequence.
But not even really their fault. Those long rebounds are so tough. And Laval just continues to get those looks from long range. Didn't knock them down, but it's so difficult as a rebounder in those situations because you feel like you're chasing water. Like it's.
Well, and as that continues, you get more exhausted, right? Like the problem wasn't the last 2; it was the first 3.
Right.
Right. Like you got to clean up those ones that are around the rim so that those long ones aren't a problem when you're exhausted. Like if you do your job early, then it's not, that issue doesn't compound itself, right?
Signatovic to Tanner for 3. That goes! And this crowd is back into it.
Another big one, another big one.
Jaden Tanner. 45-40 Laval leads. 2:10 left in the third. Beaudry Blais, Fortin. Fortin drives, kicks it down low. Shot doesn't go. Harp there for the rebound, and here comes Alberta with energy.
Need a good look here.
Harp runs right into traffic. Tanner spins, fires off the glass. Not the prettiest looking shot, but it counts. Timeout called by Laval. And that was a really nice run by Alberta. The crowd's getting into it. 45-42, Laval leads. Alberta needed a run like that to get back in it.
Well, I said off the top, Semenuk Hall is 2 wildcards. The player that I had in my head, I didn't throw into that mix, was Jaden Tanner. As another player, missed the first half of the season with injury, came back and has played really well, but providing a bit of that offensive spark here, that support scoring that they need. Kia Easton and Hadiohama, we didn't really factor her in because of the injury situation. She's got 2 threes. So in a roundabout way, they're getting a bit of that support scoring.
Jaden Tanner with a team high 9 points. Morgan Harris with 7. Brinley Holt and Leah Sophie Verrett have 11 for Laval. And we are far from finished. Mentioned the winner gets a date with Saskatchewan on Saturday night.
Isn't that a shame?
Timeout is finished. 98 seconds left in the third quarter. The first 7 or so minutes this quarter were all Laval, but Alberta has roared back. Laval once led by 11, they now lead by 3.
I like seeing some pressure.
Khalifi to Beaudry Blais.
Oh.
Miscommunication there. Beaudry Blais left wide open, and she kind of stops that run for Alberta. Puts it back to a 5-point lead.
Curls off that back screen, and no one came to her.
Tanner puts her head down, runs right into it, but it doesn't matter. 4-10 like a brick wall, but Jaden Tanner, 9 points, and these teams going shot for shot.
Need a stop here and a score.
Beaudry Blais lays it in, and a foul call, so that basket's not going to count. As Reese Hall picks up foul number 3, and that's going to send the Rouge et Or to the line.
Yeah, just a little late.
But set up too because of how hard to the rim Laval attacks. You can see when Alberta's doing it, it's a little more tentative, Laval goes hard. They know, and you mentioned earlier, Kier, like, go there, get a foul. I mean, worst case scenario, you're going to the line, and that's what Laval does a really good job of.
Well, and like, because Laval shoots the three so well, you know that being in help side is a really tough job. So if you're attacking super hard, help side's going to be a little bit tentative because they don't want to leave those shooters in the corner or like give too much space from somebody that can drill some deep threes.
Jaden Tanner and Khalifi gets called for the foul. She disagrees. And that's foul number 3 for her. So Jaden Tanner at inbound. Tanner's played a really nice 3 quarters so far for Alberta. Missed a big chunk of time this year due to injury, but
just 1 point now off her career high.
She launches a 3. That's going to be short. Holtz now drops it back to Verrett. 20 seconds remaining in the third. Verrett being watched by Harp. Verrett to her left. Bump by Harp. Off the mark. Tanner gets the rebound. Isnai-Hedio hand mock. And Alberta unfortunately can't get a shot off. And through 3 quarters, Laval holding on to a 5-point lead. They lead 49-44. 10 minutes to go in this one. This has been a really exciting game back and forth.
As much as I love those buckets that Tanner scored, those 2 layups, they do make me a little bit worried just because they weren't easy. Especially that second one, she took that bump and it was a great finish and it went in, but you can't rely on offense like that. They need to start moving the ball, getting some open looks and working together. Like, you're attacking into 2 or 3 pretty large bodies. There's got to be something better, got to be something easier that they can be getting. It's great that she got them, and in that time it's exactly what they needed, but moving forward they got to have a little bit more rhythm in their offense and getting some easier looks.
In that sense, it's been an interesting game because you look at players like, Elodie Lajoie, so far only 3 points in this game, comes in averaging 10. Holt and Verrett have been very good, obviously. Florence Fortin with 9 off 3 3-pointers. For Alberta, it's been Tanner. Jenna Harp has struggled in the playoffs. 3 of 15 here tonight. Can she find 1 quarter where she plays and shoots the ball the way we know she can? That right now is, I think if you're Jenna Harp, that's what you have to be thinking about. Can I find 1 quarter just to settle down and provide the offense? Because Laval is largely getting it from the players you'd expect to get it from. Can Alberta ask the same out of someone like Harp, who's been so great throughout her career? Now can she dial it up when it's key?
One of the big things that stick out to me on the stat sheet too is as the game has gone on, Alberta was offensively out-rebounding Laval by a large margin in the first quarter. Then all of a sudden the gap had closed in the second, and now Laval is out-rebounding them by 4 offensively. And we talk about those good teams just being consistent and wearing you down and doing it all game. Like, it has to be a 40-minute consistent effort, and Laval is ramping it up as the game goes on, and those things are large, right? And U of A's not shooting the ball overly well, so you need to give yourselves second chances.
And Doug, it's not often that this Panda team gets out-rebounded, but that's certainly been the case through 3 quarters. And I think the difference was that one sequence in the third quarter felt like Laval got 100 rebounds, but
yeah,
that's the difference. As we're underway here in the fourth, 3 seconds to go. Another shot clock violation, as the Laval bench thought there should have been a foul called.
Well, they did, but I think it was, in that case, it was Baudry-Blais and Fortin that ran into each other.
Yeah, that looked like it hurt.
I think it did hurt. Baudry-Blais is still trying to gather herself a little bit after taking one maybe in the nose.
Signatovic, baseline jumper falls. That's a big shot.
Speaking of another one, we need to come alive. Need her to score, need her to get to the rim and get some buckets.
Khalifi. Baudry-Blais rocks right into 2 black jerseys. Last touch by Laval, and it's Alberta ball. quick substitution here as Brynlee Holt is going to check back in. Really liked what Holt has brought to Laval today, and on just her first year, going to be a force to be reckoned with.
She's scary.
Yeah, she's very talented.
Lots of confidence, athleticism, like absolutely no fear getting to the rim, hit some big threes. She's long too, like she's 6 feet.
Uses every inch of her frame out there as Shea McCusker now. Jenna Harp for three. Short, falls right into the hands of Fortin, and here comes Laval. Verrett. It's all the way to the basket, cuts, curls back. Verrett, 5 to go. Kicks it down low, nice pass there as Audrey Belland.
Had her sooner too.
Puts it back up to a 5-point lead for Laval. Harp. Loses the handle, it's gonna remain Alberta ball. As, looks like that's Beaudry Blais, oh, excuse me, that's Fortin, hit the deck. She appears okay. I don't think any player is at 100% at this point in the season. It's been a long year, lots of bumps and bruises. It'll take a lot to take someone out of a lineup at this point.
If you're at 80%, you're at 100%.
Yeah, lots of taped up knees and shoulders at this point in the season.
It's why one of the reasons why winning is so hard.
Harp to Hall. Signatovic. Able to keep that foot planted. A long two-pointer for Signatovic, not really known for a shot from there. Verrett, her team leads by 5. 3-pointers, too strong by Lajoie. Signatovic there, finds Harp. Harris for 3, too strong. Tanner there for the rebound. Up and under, and Jaden Tanner. Career high points for Jaden Tanner. Pretty good game to have the best game of your young Canada West career so far.
Very athletic take on an offensive rebound, super nice.
Lajoie in the paint, that eventually drops. Still a 5-point advantage for Laval. Harris with a lane, put a little too much on that. Verrett now across half. Swarmed by Tanner and Harris. That's going to be Alberta ball. Great job there by Jane Tanner and Morgan Harris to collapse on Verrett. Trap her in that corner.
Yeah, two teams that actually will press a little bit. We haven't seen that a whole lot. Alberta a little bit in the earlier part of the second half, but I think recognizing the strength of the guards of both these teams, they've decided that's maybe not where we want to go here today. But like you said, Mark, good opportunity there to trap, and the Pandas are rewarded.
Harris behind the back, finds Signatovic, spins, too strong. Harris and Belland battle for that. And a foul called. That's going to go against Jane Tanner, so she picks up her third foul. She'll take a seat as Kia Eastonai-Hediohanma checks back in for the Pandas. Kia's played a limited role tonight, but 2 for 3 from beyond the arc. Her team's down by 5. Belland to Lajoie, back to Belland, back to Lajoie. Khalifi loses it, but is going to go off Reese Hall. 7 seconds to go on the shot clock. Tara Aimbear to inbound. Khalifi fires a dart over. As the shot clock expires, rebound there by Isnai Hediohanma to Harris. Signatovic bullies her way towards the basket, draws a foul. And if Alberta wants to get back in this game down by 5, they can do it by shooting free throws. Not a lot of trips to the line for either team tonight. And
yeah,
a timeout,
good point.
Timeout called with 5:52 remaining in the fourth. Laval leads by 5.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this game here tonight. Now here you get a look at Jaden Tanner. We've mentioned a career high for her, 13 points. I did say 13 points between Hull and Seminole. Do I get grace if Jaden Tanner has 13 points? Is that okay? Good.
We can make up the rules.
But in all seriousness, I mean, she has been huge here today in terms of providing a bit of that balance, especially when, as you mentioned, Kira, the couple of players in Signatovic and Harp have struggled offensively. So it's not just they haven't gotten what they would need out of those two, let alone the support scoring on top. So Tanner's been invaluable here today.
Yeah, she for that stretch, she's kept them in this game, right? Like when it really could have gotten blown open, she came up with a big 5 points and doing a really good job in supporting her teammates in that offensive role and just doing a wonderful, like I said, not something you want to rely on with some of those shots, but coming up big when they needed them.
5:52 remaining in the fourth quarter, quarterfinal number 4. Still time, but Laval just hasn't let Alberta get back in this game. They've been comfortably holding on to about a 5-point lead.
There's still that aura of Alberta having to work so hard to get a bucket, and then Laval, not that they haven't had to work hard, because Alberta has had some absolutely fantastic defensive possessions, but it seems like when they do score, it just comes with a bit more ease.
Signatovic at the line. She has 7 points.
48% free throw shooter. Panda's team that shot free throws well early and then sort of slipped as the season went on. Ended up 11th in Canada West, 66%.
Yeah, like coming into the fourth quarter, there had only been Claire and Jaden Tanner who had shot free throws.
Signatovic goes 1 for 2. 4-point ball game. Barrett. Holt. 7 to go. Thought about launching a 3. 2 to go. And again another shot clock violation. I don't know how many we've had in this game, but head coach Guillaume Giroux is not pleased with his team's lack of communication.
He's yelling at her. She needed to attack there. Needed to get to the rim. He's hanging out, waiting for somebody else to do it.
Hall.
Which, like, the way that her game has been going is quite surprising, because she really hasn't had a whole lot of hesitation in wanting to get to the rim.
Signatovic fires it to Harris for 3. That is good, Morgan Harris. 1-point ball game. Huge shot there. Fortin with the response. No good. Harris with the rebound. Alberta has a chance to take the lead. Harris lobs it to Signatovic, swarmed by white jerseys, chucks it, no good. Fortin hits it, finds Verrett, and here comes Laval. Verrett draws a foul on her way to the basket, goes coast to coast. And Morgan Harris picks up foul number 2.
Really good comparison. I think you look at and different types of players, granted, but you look at the situations there. Pandas get the ball inside, don't get a bucket, don't get a foul. Laval at the other end, they're drawing fouls. Not a ton, we've said that, they're not getting the line a ton, but oftentimes those deep penetrations are getting to the line, and that's been the difference. Even Signatovic there, a situation, you've got to be patient. You at least have to draw the foul to get to the free throw line, unable to do it.
Well, and I do think, and I hate sounding like a broken record, but it's that energy that Laval has of aggression and confidence. And when you go to the rim with that aggressive confidence, you get rewarded
Yep.
most of the time. And it does feel like when the Pandas get it inside, there's just, it's not a confident energy. You know, it's a hesitant one. It's a little bit of a scared one. And it shows in the finishing and in the results of what happens when you get it around the rim.
Back to a 5-point advantage for Laval. Thanks to our friend Patrick Arison, Laval has 7 shot clock violations in this game. 3-pointer here is good. Big shot there by Reese Hall. They're getting threes from unlikely sources, but they'll take it. 57-55, Laval leads.
Hit just 4 during the regular season, did Reese Hall.
The crowd getting into it now. Holt to her left. 4-10 for 3. Short. Holt out of bounds. And it's going to be Laval ball. 3.5 left in the fourth. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Alberta's going to need to get some stops. .410 for 3. Short. Hall there for the rebound.
Good rebound.
And Alberta now has a chance to tie or take the lead. Jaden Tanner. Harris. Jenna Harp for 3. No, but a foul is called. And that's going to go against Beaudry Blais. So Jenna Harp at the line has struggled offensively tonight, but that doesn't matter if she can hit these free throws. This is her first attempt. She's shooting 3.
As a shooter, I almost didn't like it when no one lined up. Like, I know with you're shooting 3, you know people wait. I'd rather have my teammates line up. Just, you take, everything becomes uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's tough because you also want to use that time to talk, right?
Absolutely.
Like you gather up and you have a conversation about what you need, but I totally get what you're saying. Like, that's like shooting a technical foul when no one's there. It's daunting. It's a little bit scary.
And the loud crowd suddenly is dead silent, like all those things. And
so Hart misses all 3. However, Alberta fought for the offensive board, and now Claire Signatovich draws another foul. Alberta's gone ice cold from the free throw line at a time where they cannot afford to go ice cold from the free throw line. 0 for 5 in about 10 seconds. And it's going to be, we'll see possession or whose it is.
should be Laval ball.
Looked like Khalifi maybe got the elbow up, and it will be Laval ball. But couple huge missed opportunities here for Alberta.
But if you're Alberta, you got to put that aside. Laval knows they dodged a little bit of a bullet because that crowd's now a little quieter. So now can Laval, as they've done so well all game, find that next big shot.
And Signatovich gets it right back. She ran right up to Khalifi. And Alberta, again, a chance to tie or take the lead.
I'm not sure I agree with that
Yeah, I'm
call.
not sure I do either. I think that was a pretty quick grab, if at all, by Signatovich on the ball.
That might have been a foul. Oh.
Tanner goes into traffic, runs right into 3 right jerseys. 2.5 minutes remaining. Khalifi. Beaudry Blais to 410. Four to go on the shot clock. Launches a long 2, it's good. Thankfully for Alberta, that was just a 2-pointer. Laval leads by 4. Harris. Harp. Unorthodox shot doesn't fall. Rebound collected by Laval. And a foul called Morgan Harris going to pick up her third. And this game might be slipping away from the Pandas.
Lots of time left, just need some composure here. Need a stop.
1:56 remaining. Laval leads by 4. Pick some confusion about a substitution for Laval.
The amount of 24 shot clock violations they've had, this would be a wonderful time to pull out another one of those. Or an early steal.
Laval leads by 4. Verrett.
Oh no.
Beaudry-Blais wide open. Back to Verrett. 7 to go. Bear. Floater. Falls short. Harris. And it's going to be Laval ball. Tenacious defense by the Rouge et Or. Under 90 seconds left. Alberta needs a stop or a steal. Beaudry-Blais. Khalifi. Charges against Tanner, loses it. Stays in bounds. Khalifi can't get it. She gets the rebound, offensive rebound. Story of tonight. Verrett drives off the glass and in, and the foul. And she is feeling it. And that might be it for Alberta. 4th foul on Reese Hall, as Leah Sophie Verrett shows why she was the RSEQ Player of the Year, showed why she's a first-team All-Star, has a chance to put her team up by 6. She does just that. Timeout called by Alberta, 1:08 remaining. Well, it's not for lack of opportunities for the Pandas. They find themselves, down by 7. And they've had their chances in the 4th quarter.
You know, basketball, and Kira, you can speak to this better having played at this level. I mean, basketball is a game of confidence. And right now, you can just tell with the Alberta Pandas that at the offensive end, they just have no confidence. No confidence shooting the ball, no confidence in their system. It's just nothing is clicking right now. And I think you and I both looked at each other on that previous drive by Jaden Tanner, trying to go basically 1-on-4 into the paint. Well, it's not likely going to work, and that's a team that's just trying to find an answer. And
unfortunately, one of the things that we talked about before is it did work.
Yeah.
You know, she had a couple of them that went, that kept her in that, so that it rewards it. And you never want to say that it's a bad take because it went in, like it's a bucket, but it's, you know, it's not something that you can rely on consistently. And unfortunately, what kept them in isn't something that in moments like this is going to happen, right? Especially against a confident team like Laval. Yeah. And you just, like you said, you see it in Laval's takes, and you see it in their aggression. Their confidence is just, it feels like a more mature confidence, and an aggressive one, and it's really playing out for them.
1:05 remaining, Alberta down by 7. Signatovic. Off the glass, nice touch there. Makes it a 5-point game, under a minute remaining. And a last-second substitution.
It's not out of reach, though. Like, it's not out of reach.
Bear
down, play some defense. It's not out of reach. And if you're Laval, you got to take care of the ball.
Don't turn it over.
The clock is your friend. You want to use it.
Khalifi being watched by Tanner. 10 to go in the shot clock. She drives, puts it on the floor to Beaudry-Blais. 3 to go, spins. 4-10 for 3. Off the mark, Harp there for the rebound. Alberta's got a boogie. Morgan Harris to Signatovic. Up! Not strong enough. Fans thought there should have been a foul called. And there's about a second between shot clock and game clock. Now they have to foul Laval, and they're moving the ball so well. They can't do it. Finally, Harp just bear hugs Audrey Balland. But it looks like might be too little, too late.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a replay of that one. Looked to me like Signatovich might have been bumped going up, but
Gotta be strong.
yeah, no, I think you're right, and it's back a little bit. We said, I mean, she's kind of angling away from the rim, and referees often aren't going to give you that when you don't turn into the rim. So
one of the things you learn is you initiate that contact, right? Like you go into them, you initiate it, and you go up strong.
We'll see it here. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I can see why there was no call. It's a good job by Fortin. I mean, she goes straight up, and again, Signatovich kind of angles away. So
yeah, it's that level of confidence.
Yeah,
right.
To turn in, knowing the contact's coming.
I'm gonna initiate that contact, and I'm gonna finish this and get an and one.
That's right.
You initiate that and go strong. You're way more likely to get that call as well. But when you're fading like that, it's just you don't have the position.
No. So for the 7,633rd time, I stand corrected. There was definitely no call.
14 seconds remaining. Laval leads by 6. Barring a miracle, Laval will face Saskatchewan Saturday, semifinal Saturday. As we said it earlier, but it's not for lack of opportunities. Alberta had many chances, but it looks like time is running out.
Well, Mark, you and I have been doing Jenna Harp's games for years, and this is not me picking on Jenna Harp by any stretch, but I don't think I've hardly ever seen her go 0 for 2 at the free throw line, let alone 0 for 3. And each one of them was a little different. One was right, one was left, one was short. And again.
And as a shooter, you never want to miss the same way twice, right? So she's
right.
making
You're always learning.
Yeah, you don't want to. If you miss the first one short, you don't want to miss another one short. You make an adjustment. So her adjusting is, like she's aware of it too. It's just not falling for her.
As almost turned over, but that killed almost a full second. Tanner for 3. Too strong. Rebound collected. Verrett is fouled. And Laval knows that they are 6.9 seconds away from a date in the semifinals. As Leah Sophie Verrett came as advertised. 16 points. Make that 17. 3 for 7 from 3. And perfect at the line so far tonight. 18 points. And that is going to do it as Morgan Harris to Jaden Tanner. Long three-pointer as Laval stuns the home team, Alberta Pandas, with a 65-57 victory. Laval is the first lower seed to advance in this tournament so far.
Queens was the lower seed, sorry. Yeah, Queens was
the
the
lower
6
seed as well. So the 6 and the 5 seed advances. And the Pandas' dream of winning a national championship at home is over.
Yeah, I mean, first off, full credit to Laval. I thought they played just a really steady 40 minutes. Just not a lot of lulls in their game. Even when Alberta in the second half got on a bit of a run, got close, got down by 1, just no panic in their game. We've mentioned that word a lot with the Huskies, now here today with the Rouge et Or. Just so full credit to them, and for Alberta, defensively probably a little more than they would like to give up in terms of where they've normally been. But again, I sound like a broken record. Just not enough offense. They just could not score. And at the end of the day, it's hurt them at times this season and hurt them tonight.
Yeah, and even from the free throw line, right? Like, not that they got to the line a ton, but when they did, weren't able to convert, only 46%. And in a game that's tight like this, and in a big moment in the game where they had an opportunity at 5 of them, you need those, you need them.
Player of the game announcement, really no surprise for Laval. Leah Sophie Verrett, 18 points, 7 for 7 from the free throw line. Really did it all out there, hit big shots. And she showed why she was player of the year in the RSEQ.
And you just love the way the pace that she plays with. I mean, every time she gets a chance, she's dribbling into the lane, just probing, seeing what's there, opening things up, just drawing attention. I mean, she's a really fun player to watch.
It's going to be interesting. Her and Grasick matched up in the semi. Very similar style player in terms of the attention that they garner and how they move the ball.
Verrett certainly doesn't play like she's 5'3". She plays like she's 6'3". And player of the game for the Pandas is Jaden Tanner, career high in points. She was really, really good tonight for the Pandas. Obviously not the result she was hoping for, but she should be proud. The Pandas should be proud with this season. Silver medal in Canada West. Now the teams will shake hands, one of the best traditions in sports. And you can see the look of disappointment on the Pandas' face, as they had many opportunities, but in the end, Doug, you said it, full marks to Laval. They played a great game.
Yeah, and you look at the faces, specifically the two fifth-years and McCusker and Harp. I mean, there's at least one, hopefully 2 more games to go, but you know, they know for sure that an opportunity here eluded them, and these are two, again, you could play these two teams 7 different times. I think if it was a best of 7, I think we'd be going to 7.
Yeah.
I just think the nature of how these two teams play, I think the adjustments will be fun to see. I mean, we're not going to get that chance, but two teams that play very similarly, and tonight was Laval's night, and absolute full credit to them.
As much as I love the energy in Nationals, seeing their faces is just breaking my heart. Like I know that feeling all too well, and it's a tough one to go through. And especially, you know, the build-up of coming to Nationals and all of the support and the fans. But like you said, like, such a good matchup, and I think if they were to play, like you said, it'd go to a best of 7 for sure. And it wasn't, and Mark said this multiple times, it wasn't lack of opportunity.
No.
You know, like they had their chances and they just didn't take advantage of them, and unfortunately Laval did, and that was, you know, the end result was because Laval had just a little bit more confidence offensively and took advantage of those big moments.
And there you see the Pandas acknowledging the terrific home crowd tonight. We've talked a lot about how good the Pandas crowd has been, but shout out to the traveling Laval Rouge et Or fans that made the trip. Of course, the bench acknowledged them, as we're going to be joined by Brinley Holt. Brinley, congratulations on your team's victory. Basically, can you talk about this environment and your team you bent, but you never really broke playing in this raucous gym?
Yeah, we just talked about it in the locker room. We knew there was going to be a lot of fans here, especially for Alberta home team. So we just told them, like, in the locker room, we were like, we just got to bring the energy and get 100%. And even if, sorry, they're looking at me. Even if they, oh shoot, even if they yell at us and they boo us, like, we just got to keep going and not give up and just ignore them, kind of thing, or just use their energy to fuel us even more.
I think watching you play as such a young player, you had such unbelievable confidence with the ball, and it's an exciting thing to think about. When you were in those big moments and the crowd was getting loud, was there something that you guys would talk about in those moments, or was it just an overall feeling coming into this game?
Well, we would just say next play. You know, if we made a mistake, it was next play, move on to the next, don't let it drag us down. And of course, we did bring a good energy into this game, starting from the warm-up, so I'm just really proud of our team.
And last question for you can go join your teammates, but your teammates are unbelievable. Leah Sophie Verrett, we were just talking about how impressed we were. This is your first year with this program. What's it like to join such a well-oiled machine? You guys haven't lost all season. It seems like you just keep rolling and rolling and rolling.
It's been really amazing. I'm so glad I'm getting this opportunity, and I'm so proud of each and every one of my teammates. And Leah Sophie has been such an example for me and has helped me so much, so I'm so proud of her and I'm so happy for her.
Well, congratulations on the victory tonight. You get tomorrow off and you're back at it against Saturday against Saskatchewan. So I won't ask you about Saskatchewan. I'll let you go join your teammates. But congratulations on the victory tonight.
Thank you so much.
That is Brinley Holt. She was a first-team all-rookie team in the RSEQ. She played some big moments for Laval, and Kira, like, she doesn't look or talk like a rookie. I was amazed at how poised she was in that interview.
She's going to be a problem for this league for a while. Like, to be in her first year and play a game like that, like, she's long and athletic. She's so aggressive and confident. She hit big threes, had nice attacks at the rim, aggressive defender. Like, she's going to be an issue for a long time to come. And this Laval squad, obviously, like, moving forward, going to be a problem.
Doug, let's look ahead to semifinal Saturday quickly. Let's focus on this team first. Laval versus Saskatchewan. That is two heavyweights going at it. What's your early thoughts on how that game's going to go?
Yeah, I think it's going to be played at a really high pace. I think both teams like to do that. The thing with Saskatchewan, as we alluded to in that quarterfinal, is that they can kind of play how they want. You want to play fast, we'll play fast. We want to slow it down, we can do that. That's the one advantage I give to Saskatchewan. I think Laval plays at one speed, and not that that's a bad thing, but Saskatchewan, I think, can find ways around that. So it's going to be an interesting matchup because of it. The other thing, the depth of the Huskies, I think that could play a factor. But, hey, the top-end talent on this Laval team might be as good as anybody in this tournament. We saw that on display here tonight.
Kira, what do you think about the semifinal?
I'm really excited to see this matchup because I think the confidence of Verrett is, like, you're not going to find a more confident player, and that energy coming from your best player goes a long way. And he said basketball is a game of confidence and momentum, right? And I think that this team is one that really feeds off of that, and they proved it in front of a really loud Panda crowd. The one thing I will give the Huskies, they are able to play in multiple different ways, including their bigs are so dynamic and they finish so well, and I don't think Laval has that in their bag. But if they're able to find ways around that and keep the pace of the play up, then, you know, they've definitely got a chance because their guard play is really good and really strong. But the depth and the size and the way that the Huskies use their bigs is going to be a problem, I think.
And Doug and Kira, we'll just close on this. I'll start with Doug. Obviously not the way the Pandas wanted to end their season, but I guess your thoughts on the 23-24 Alberta Pandas season.
You know, this is a team that it's been a lot of fun to watch. Again, another team that likes to play at a pretty quick pace. And because of the depth they have, you're always seeing, we saw it today, Jaden Tanner. There's always someone new that steps in and contributes, and today it was Tanner's day. And I think the depth that Scott Edwards has makes a big difference. But look, they're going to be disappointed. I think you look to that opening weekend where they had those two games against the Huskies, couldn't get over the hump again in those two. And not that that affected their season, but they've certainly at the offensive side, they've plateaued a bit this year, and that has hurt them. Defensively, again, they were the number one team in the country coming into this tournament, and I think they showed well here tonight that way. But yeah, just confidence eluded them offensively, and sometimes it just goes. And I think that seems to be what's happened over the course of the last month or two.
Well, and I think it's important to note, like, even though they're not going to be battling for a medal, they still have fifth years that have games left, right? So it's important that they finish out their careers on a high note, and even though it's not in the games that you wanted to be in, you need to regroup, you need to battle back, because it's in the best interest of not only your fifth years, but the progress of the program as well. You learn from these losses and you come back next year stronger, but you also provide your fifth years an opportunity to go out in this tournament on top. I know Jenna Harp would probably want a couple of those free throws back and would like to have a better offensive game, and she will have an opportunity to do that. Tournament's not over, season's not over yet. Like I said, not where they wanted to be, but it's some character wins that are an opportunity for them moving forward.
We'll be back tomorrow with some consolation games, and then semifinal Saturday we'll have Carleton take on Queens and Saskatchewan taking on Laval. On behalf of our incredibly hardworking crew here at the Saville Community Sport Centre, on behalf of my broadcast colleagues Kira Lyons and Doug McLean, my name is Mark Majot. Thank you for watching us tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night for more women's basketball Final 8 championships. Good night, everyone.